G2 with the 89.
And that's just because of you and all of your alternate Twitter accounts and Twitch accounts just going through and voting yes.
It's as many times as I could just click yes. That's how it was done. Yeah, we're moving into a bit of a different change of pace away from Bank. Gonna be Cafe. This is a little bit more aggro, a little bit more in your face. I would say that for how Dunlimited played in Bank, their main issue was getting kills. On this map, if you don't get your kills, you will not win. Plain and simple. Cafe is much more about the cheap tricks, jumping out the windows, getting the kills, being a nuisance, taking out big bits of utility. That's what it's all about. And you can't do that unless you get kills. It's not about sitting back and digging in deep. If you dig in deep on Cafe and you try and play passive, what's going to happen? You're going to get naded. Because there's a lot of different nade positions that will happen in this map. So you have to get out and aggressive. You need to get out and about it and make sure the attackers have no control. That's what Dunlimited are going to need to do, Ollie, because they start in the defense first. This is going to be the big side for them. How well can they deal with the frag capabilities that G2 have already displayed on Bank?
It really is a case of keeping up with that ability. And we've seen already a couple of players on the side of G2 have pop-off moments, whether it's Alamal walking up spiral stairs, whether it's Uno clutching out 4 kills, whether it's Benja with some great adaptation that was highlighted over on the desk. You can really just take your pick. I think the only player that maybe had a somewhat quiet game and didn't have an absolute pop-off moment was potentially Doki. I think he had a nice bit of play in behind the server stack where he picked himself up 2 really nice kills on the Twitch, but aside from that, he just got the job done. On the side of Dunlimited, however, there's no one really that stands out to me that had a wow moment. And that's not always necessarily a bad thing, but if you're then losing the map 7-3, it becomes a bit of a problem. So we're looking at, in this instance for Dunlimited to attempt and shut down some of that play that G2 are performing and have a little bit of their own. But Cafe can be a tough map to get that across on, and Cafe, in my opinion, plays perfectly into the style of Siege that G2 like to play, which is, as Fresh said on the desk, this split theory, find the weakness and put all of the pressure in onto that weakness.
And you have a great IGL like Alamo, and I know that, I feel so for Alamo, I feel as though people either love him or you hate him. That's what it feels like. But all of those people who may hate him, you can't deny the guy is good at the game, and he has a very good brain for the game into that. That's the main reason why he was brought over for G2 in the first place, because he was as hot as an open fire whenever he got picked up. He was the kid. He was that guy that everyone needed to get, and he was a very sought after product. Coming out of Brazil, you know, me and you, we cast him wherever he was starting off. We know how good the guy can be, and he got them a world title, and no one can take that away from them. And for Alama, obviously, you know, there's been changes here and there, especially towards the support role. They've been for obviously 2 players since their SI win. Uno is who they've chosen, I think, in terms of supports inside of EOL. You'll not find many with more experience than Uno in there. He's been around for a very long time. And I think what Uno's already showed on Bank as well today, he can still shoot, which I think was always a question mark for him, is can he still keep up with the pace of the game?
Well, looks like the executes come through now. We can see the bees going out there and kills starting to fly. G2 not coming up all roses here, though. 3 versus 3 with Hypex very low indeed. Virtue sat on the upside down rappel. Uno's actually got himself into the map, and he does have the diffuser, but he needs a little bit more space to make that happen. Benja's got a really important engagement here on these white stairs. He's trying to stun out as best he can, but he's got 2 angles to challenge onto. How has he stayed alive? Does manage to scurry down. Virtue still playing Overwatch on the hatch. He's going to move over now and see if there's anything that he can find. Uno picks up a really important kill. He's done so well to stay alive here. He's been in the heart of the bomb site for a good 20 seconds, and now he's gathered the all-important information. He might be given the space to now look to try and get the plant down, as IWI is the only remaining defender coming in from the cocktail side. Maybe looking for a rotation here in through, but that capital barricade is going to get sent with the bionic arm, but it's not before the plant goes down. And we can see G2, they're making their way up onto the roof. IWI, you can bait that all you like. You got Virtue and Benja here waiting to collect, and collect they will.
Virtue and Benja cleaning things up, but that round is all Uno. He made that round, Ollie. He done so well to stay alive. He didn't want to force the plant. They knew they had more than enough time. Both of them wanted to give Benja the space to see if he could maybe slip up white stairs and get a kill, and that would really set them up in a good position. Virtue, very patient, Ollie, whenever you think about him on the window. He knew that as long as he holds that angle, Virtue is untouchable. No one can get to, or Uno is untouchable, so no one can get near him to kill him. The Fuser cold in the site, and then it's a bit hectic at that point. The fact that Benja got out of there alive on white stairs is a bit of a surprise to me. And then,
bear in mind, Benja was taking an engagement on white stairs and then decided to turn around and still ended up being the player on the roof in the post plant.
The issue was Hypix was the danger man for G2. But Hypix gave himself up so easily trying to rotate back in the site where Uno was. And as soon as you lose that pressure from Hypix, you know that the other two are both beside each other towards white stairs and bathroom.
Fantastic decision making, and as you say, Uno being the playmaker there. Sometimes the hardest thing to do in this game is just to sit tight and not move. And he did that fantastically, and got a kill, and got the plant down. We nearly saw the bionic arm coming into some real value there, though. Aruni, of course, having the ability to one-punch those castle barricades. Does it give a nice little alternative to an impact or something of that nature? And it's handy to play, especially when you're going to play the castle. Sometimes castle's biggest, sometimes the biggest problem that castles can face is the damage that it does your own team. That's why it's mainly seen as a competitive operator and not always an operator that's great inside of ranked and things of that nature, because you've not always got the same level of team play.
G2, just checking to see what the approach is going to be this time around and see what changes obviously Dunlimited have made. I don't think they're going to get away with the same idea of just swinging in through cocktail, utilizing the Bs and the nades. Instead, looks to be a little bit more traditional, trying to gain control of red stairs. Oh my goodness, Doki just finds a freebie. Skipper trying his hand at that old aggressive peek up towards the hatch. The only issue is getting Alamau in to use that hard breach gadget for red. G2, for me, aren't really the team that I think is going to be worrying too much about hard breach. Because it doesn't really play a big part unless you're going for just full-on piano control. You want to open up as much as you can, play the long angles from the windows. But now a lot of teams are really trying to utilize, different gadgetry, with Brim being a big one. Capitao comes in. We've seen that a few times from Brazil. They've really liked the Capitao for Cafe, especially whenever you're looking towards that cocktail. So I think G2, they're just setting up. This is almost like the big breath before the plunge.
Everything that G2 feels like a setup for a big execute. And you can see that in the positions that they hold. Benja going to send the utility in now and force Aruni out of position there. Hypix going to have to rotate back into the washroom. Kind of lucky to still be up at the moment, but the castle barricade doing a lot of the hard work for him. He will, however, take Doki out. He does need to be dealt with, and dealt with he will be. Uno, he's been promoted. He's on the Nook now, and he's flying in, picking up kills for the squad. Got good presence in and around these white stairs, and Uno looks as though he's going to be the spearhead that plunges them here into the heart of the site. Rorik, though, could be about to play spoiler here, but no, taken down immediately. G2, they're just too good, Demo.
I love that attack from G2. The biggest issue that attackers will sometimes find whenever you're attacking that top floor is mirror windows. Both of those mirror windows were set up deliberately to deny anyone pushing in towards Piano. That was the main goal of Dunlimited. Take that big room away from G2, then they're stuck to just swinging in through windows. That's never going to work. G2 have done a really smart thing. They've brought operators that you wouldn't really think of whenever it comes to clearing away mirrors. You'd think, oh, if you're going to get a mirror window gone, bring your Twitch, even just bring a nade, just kill the guy off it. They've went with two different approaches, and both being used extremely well. The bathroom mirror window is cleared off by using the bees. The B, sure, you can. It doesn't really affect you in terms of you getting kills as a defender. You don't get flash, you don't take damage, but your information is going to be spotted. That information means you cannot play aggressively off the mirror window, because if you swing, they're going to see you, through the wall. They can pre-fire you as well as you can pre-fire them. And then the other mirror window play deep towards planks. Planks, Ollie, don't forget, planks. It is then going to be
top white, also known as lumber, also known as wood.
No, it's going to be fired off from the Capital bolts. So then no one can play the second mirror window looking into piano. If no one's on the mirror windows, no one's holding piano, and then we've seen that double push come in from piano, down white, clear everyone out of those positions, and you win the round so simply. I love it. That's right up my alleyway. Ingenious ways of dealing with tricky bits of defender utility.
Skipperino fancying himself a bit of a roamer this time. He's going to be downstairs. We've got quite an open plan of work has gone on in and around the site. Maybe gets droned here, maybe doesn't. I think that Dunlimited are recognizing they need to be a little bit more aggressive here, but that isn't going to fly, I'm afraid. Virtue, he had his drone prepped and ready, and he's already calling out for the next one. Opening pick inside the first 30.
Virtue today has been just steady as a rock, isn't he? He hasn't really put a foot wrong, it feels like, the entire day, which is great to have. The consistency is a big thing we look for, Ollie, whenever it comes to Siege, and another one falls for Dunlimited. This aggressive standpoint is not working. Doki's just wandered into the bomb site. 2 minutes remaining, and he's in the thick of it right now. Benja eliminates Skipper, and this is feeling all too similar to what we've seen on Bank.
It's a big job to be done by only 2 remaining defenders here. Uno, he's going to get the read there and be given the time and space to put that plant down. Hypex caught out on the roam. It's no good roaming and extending if you cannot keep control of your bomb site. Gets caught out on the Nomad. Game has been given away. G2 making it look so easy here tonight.
What can you say? Demolition job. Dunlimited standing no chance, and it comes back to the point as well, they're still not getting the kills. Still not getting the kills, and at this level, if you cannot run with the best, you'll be left behind. And that is the sad truth here for Dunlimited, is they're just not up to par where they need to be in terms of winning gunfight engagements. They're just not.
I don't want to alarm anyone, but Benja hasn't blinked in about 45 seconds.
I think I think his feed may have gone down.
I think he's maybe locked in.
whenever they say, "Oh, Finnish people lack emotions," no, Danish people lack emotions. Take it from me. With that guy, he is, just I don't know what it is about Benja. Sometimes he looks really happy, and then sometimes he's just so serious. You don't really get him either which way.
He's always looked pretty happy when I've seen him.
Get a smile out of him it'd be a difficult job. It can be.
Maybe that's just you, Demo.
No, I make him smile. Make him happy.
3 rounds in a row is certainly going to be making G2 happy here as they continue with their attack on Cafe. Very impressive so far. They've not really come up against any obstacle, and I feel like everything that Dunlimited have tried has kind of fallen by the wayside. Dunlimited have tried to anchor onto that top floor and play the power positions, and it failed. They've tried to roam and be aggressive, and it's failed. I'm going to go down to Kitchen and Kitchen. They have got a bit of a roam presence here as well, and Rorik may be looking for something a little bit cheeky in the early portion of the round, but he isn't going to find it.
This is a direct take from G2. They're going to forego any form of vertical destruction, which we've seen M&M do this earlier, Ollie, and it worked out well for them. You want to try and slow the game down, control it. That's not a good start. You've lost Uno, you've lost the hard breach. Doki is just walking in. This is what we mean whenever they're so comfortable, Ollie, on the gun skill. They abuse it so much. Dunlimited looks scared, and G2, they know that. The issue is they have to get this wall open with only hard breach gadget. Shouldn't be too much of an issue, but the problem now that you're stuck with is the Monty cannot get through that wall, Ollie, without unshielding and bolting through, which is not a safe way to get your Monty in for a plant. He's going to have to walk in through Small Bakery.
and you've already chanced your arm with the vertical that's on prep once. You don't really want to have to do that again. Batusha is going to get stunned out there, but a great bit of team play. Rorik coming to his teammates' aid here. Picks a 1 and a 2nd. G2 try and pinch him out, but it's not good enough. Rorik's not done there. He picks up a 3rd, and he's now setting his eyes onto Virtue. Virtue left dancing. Are they on the vert? Are they not? Going to take a few shots there and just get softened up a little bit. There's no real way for Virtue to come away with this round here. He would have no business taking these 4 kills. 55 seconds. Dunlimited. They might just find themselves entering the scoreboard here on Cafe for the first time.
I would love to see him get a 1-tap. He's fishing for it as it stands. I don't think he's gonna get this one. Dunlimited, well drilled, good patience, good discipline. It's only a matter of time. I think G2, it just shows that going direct, if a team doesn't give you any kills in the early game, which is the comparison we can make with Eminem and Valor. Valor gave Eminem, freebies from the get-go. If you don't get the freebies, you're going to struggle breaking through that defense, because it's a difficult bomb site to control if you don't have the vertical presence. There's a lot of different positions, a lot of different, clutter you can hide behind. Think about the back kitchens. You've seen that shield set up towards the sink. Even the head glitch towards the bomb chassis are difficult positions. All of them can be easily rooted out by going above. But if you're not going to do that, then the defense can sit as happy as they like.
It all started with the C4 for me, didn't it? We're losing the ace on the C4 nice and early on. That was a real big dipping point in the round, because then you've no longer got the option to open up the breach fully. The Monty isn't going to be as effective, and you're kind of forced into well, do we just sit in bakery or do we go and clear? And G2 just got caught out in bakery for a little bit too long. It's only 1 round if you're a G2 fan, but it's 1 round if you're a Dunlimited fan. That could be the start of something here on Cafe, as unlikely as it may seem. They finally managed to get themselves a round up there, but it doesn't take anything away from how dominant G2 have looked so far.
I mean, this is playing out exactly how it did on Bank, where G2 took the first 3 rounds and then Dunlimited bounced back with a good round of their own. But we did see how Bank finished, Ollie. That is the worry. Don't forget that G2, they will get a chance at defense, where they looked pretty darn good on as well. So it is pressure on Dunlimited to see if they can at least make it an even count and make this much closer fixture than previously. G2, looking at their lineup, Ollie. Nades is on the menu today. 6 nades is what they're playing with. And this is the bit of a worry that I would sometimes have with teams, where if you're not playing the aggressive stance on CAF and you give too much away from G2, which certainly could come into play, considering that G2 have been all over them, and there probably is a little bit of fear factor setting in for Dunlimited, knowing that if you try and play aggressive, you're probably going to get punished because these guys are just better. So if you try and play more passive, this is where the nades will just come alive and almost eat you alive at a stage. And there goes a lot of them being tossed in. See the Jaeger take a bit of damage. Alamau tosses more in, and somehow IWI is still alive.
Does have Rorik below as well, so expecting some vertical pressure potentially. At least trying to keep his teammate safe for the time being. 6 nades might become a little bit of a rarity with the changes that we are seeing in the patch notes. You have to bring a really funky lineup to get a 6 out, but nades or not, Doki will be the first player to fall, swiftly followed by Benja. Alamau storms in, trying to make something happen, gets a great 1-tap over onto Hypex, and Virtue's backing him up. Uno now starting to try and get that plant down. Skipperino, you got nowhere to go. There's no rotation. He's locked himself out. Rorik, you might be below, but you're not going to be able to do anything from there, my friend. You've spent your C4, and Uno is going to guarantee that plant. You could have all the information in the world here, but not be able to do anything with it. Misses the pre-fires. The shotgun's not loaded. It's a horrible time to be a mute below. Can move up white stairs, but you know what's going to be waiting for him? A G2 gun pointed in his direction.
That's a shotgun.
Uno, ready to hit him with the flump. Is he going to pick him from close range? Yes, he is. A plan to the kill to close things out. What a game Uno's having.
Yeah, Uno just tries to get that diffuser on every opportunity. Just dies for it, doesn't he? Again, Virtue, it's steady, Ollie, on those windows. That was an important kill he managed to get because he killed the only remaining player who was actually a threat in the site. Remember, the last two were the Fenrir and obviously the mute below. We've seen Fenrir try and go for a rotate, but then he comes up against just a wall that he can't get through. They locked themselves out of sight. They had castled off the double door in towards Cigar Shop. They fully reinforced the bathroom walls. You mentioned before that Castle can sometimes play against you. There's the perfect example of it.
It really is. There was almost a lack of understanding of how the site had been set up by all of the defenders. You could see that with Skipperino just sort of, oh, I'm in washroom. I'm not really gonna do anything actually because I can't leave here now. I've got to go through Cigar. I've got to go through Piano. Like you're in a horrible spot there when you can't navigate and get to where you want to in the site. And again, G2 just picking out that weak point. They spent so much utility to deal with the Jaeger inside of Cocktail because that was the point of the map that they had identified as, we want this part, we want to take this bit, and this is how we're going to do it. We're going to throw everything at it. It didn't come for free. They spent a couple of bodies to get it. They spent a lot of util to get it, but that was the catalyst in that particular round because that then opened things up, allows Alamau to push through. And Alamau, as we've seen him do a couple of times already today, okay, he's had a quiet game here on Cafe so far, but he got two really cracking important kills there in that round.
So we head to our reading site now. Bit of a change of an operator appears. We see the Ram. And certainly an operator which I'm a big fan of, Ollie. The fact that you can do your vertical action from a window is very impressive, and also you can't get C4'd while doing so, then I'm even more of a fan. I think Ram fits a really good niche. I also think flashbangs is very handy to have for a lot of team comps whenever there is a fair amount of burn. Whenever you look at a map like Cafe, there always will be some form of it. See, the Rooney Gates is going to be that for Dunlimited this time. Doge gets picked off. There goes the Nomad, so flank protection is not going to be in the cards for G2. Right now, if you actually look at the initial setup for Dunlimited, it's very similar to what they've done in their top floor hold, where they want to play in towards Bathroom, in towards Freezer. This sets up very similar to what M&M were doing earlier. It's a nice comparison we're seeing for both sides. You know, both sides really taking a page out of M&M's books. And this is working well for Dunlimited. 2 picks have found. No response there from G2. Alamau drops in. Diffuser is still on the rooftop. Needs to see about picking that up. But Dunlimited, it's much more slower change of pace, probably because there's less nades. So there's less of a threat that G2 can really apply to this more passive hold.
It's really unusual to see kills go against G2 and nothing happen off the back of it. Usually there's a really bloody gunfight that ensues as soon as one kill comes in. But G2 have just sort of laid down and took it, and now there's a third. Really what's going on here inside of this round is that Dunlimited are doing such a good job of choking G2 out. What a shot from Virtue. It's a shame it's probably not going to mean all too much, as he is the sole survivor right now. Going to be able to push through the site. Does have a nade to work with. Going to think about throwing something into Pixel, but it's Freezer he needs to be a bit more concerned with. No nades left now, and eventually the peak coming out of said Freezer. A flashy exit frag for Virtue, but everything was coming up Dunlimited there. They did a really good job of taking those 1v1s.
Much better from Dunlimited. 4-2 half. I think GT will be relatively happy to see that, because now they go on the defense. This is where G2 can really have their way with the attacking side. I mentioned before that kills is a big part of Cafe, and making sure you can get up close and personal to the attackers and give them very little control is a good idea. Now G2 at the turn of the half will take this opportunity to have an extra minute to talk about how they want to set up for their defense. It's always, are you a fan of these kind of timeouts?
I don't really have much thought on it. I think in this sort of a game where G2 are clearly leading, they've had a couple of rounds not go their way, notably the last one. I don't think it's the end of the world. It all depends on what the coach has seen or heard that has, forced the timeout. If the coach has heard something, maybe a crossword be spoken or something that was blatantly ignored or something that just didn't work out and feels a need to come in and correct, then sure, go ahead. I don't think that there's much value. I don't think there's much negative at that point in the round. I think turn of a half is probably quite a nice time to take a timeout.
Defenders, protect your bombs from being defused by attackers.
Got floor choice. Mirrors come in. Mentioned before that G2 and the way they clear out those mirror windows was just brilliant. And Dunlimited are going to have to go up against the same issue. That mirror window, very strong to have. You can open up that wall, gives you then a good swing into the players in towards Piano. I like that one a lot. And generically, the other one does go in towards Freezer, so you have the double up. Yep, no surprise there. It just means that you can't get in Piano as easy as what you would like. Whenever you walk into Piano and you see this setup, there's automatically then like 4 different angles you have to worry about. You've got Pixel, the first mirror, the second mirror, and then the head holes that can be sat in the back of Cocktail looking straight onto you. It's an absolute mess. So clearing out those mirror windows is always a good priority. Or you could just ignore them. We see a lot more Cocktail takes probably because of that. Mostly because you can nade a lot of the positions that people could be playing in towards Cocktail. You can't really do that with Bathroom on a concrete floor. Even Azami and Piano Ollie, that's a tricky one to deal with. There's a lot of different clutter in that room that you can place the Kiva barriers on. And it makes such a difference in the utility that the attackers would like to have compared to really what they're allowed to, burning through those Kiva barriers. That was a nice try. He does 80 damage there or so. Still 20 HP is enough.
I think that's the closest C4 that we've seen all day through a hatch. We've seen quite a few, and none of them have really come too close, but finally get a little bit of damage, but not quite the finishing blow. What a kill from Doki. Just hits him with the reverse there.
Nice
Skipperino credited him with the nice shot. It's kind of a surprise that something like Azami has actually made its way through, and even more of a surprise that it's only round 7 that we're talking about it. We didn't really see Dunlimited play it all too much, at least not very effectively. Now you're looking at it and you're going, G2 have got all of this utility soak that they're going to be able to play with. It's going to make somewhere like Piano a very difficult place to try and navigate.
In goes Rorik downstairs, I think trying to hunt for Doki and get that kill back. I suppose Doki's still a bit of an issue. Impacts below, if there's a good bit of information can be fed through. If they know where the default plant's going to be going down, then Doki could appear. He instead is looking to rotate away now from Radiant. He's found himself on the white stairs. The Gumines is going to be there to assist him. Uno's went for a jump out outside. He's been downed. Uno's went for a risky play. It hasn't paid off for him. He's been killed. Doki now up close and personal on Reading. Whiffs the shots and gets punished. The DMR rings true, but look at the HP of 3 players from Dunlimited, Ollie.
All sitting pretty low.
Even a Gumine kills them.
Yeah, not a great deal of HP between them. Not full 2 HP players between the 4 remaining. Benja, all you gotta do is land a couple of shots and it's not even gonna matter if he's going for the head. IWI found down here. Benja and Alamau back to back against Rorik and Hypex. There's some time left here to try and make something happen. Benja, he's digging himself in. He knows that he's got to try and play for his life here and play cautiously. Rorik does have the diffuser in hand and could look to try and get that down. Shots coming in from Alamau and he will be successful. It's all down to Rorik. Finds one onto Benja. That was pretty unexpected there. Benja really got caught lacking, but it isn't going to matter regardless. Alamau still alive there, keeping himself nice and tucked.
Oh, what a mess. What a mess. That 2v4 goes in favor of G2 where it really should not. They didn't prioritize the diffuser where they should have. They were more worried about trying to kill the players, especially Benja, who somehow got away from them for so long. Alamo actually had quite an easy job. He just sat in towards white and just waited for the right moment. He got one down, which is no surprise with the HP, and then still has that mirror window to play behind. In the final seconds, it kills actually the only one who's full HP, and it's a home run from there. It's really surprised to see Dunlimited throw that away, because I think they've done really well. I think they assess the threat of Doki below. Then they rotate above, then they start looking for the execute, but he just did not go for the plan, which is what we highlight G2 for, Uno especially.
Yeah,
he
so
was
committed.
so focused in that, you know?
Uno's always been very committed to getting the plant down. Regardless, it feels like regardless of team, that's just the style of siege that he knows and likes. And it's a great win condition when you can, have that as, you know someone on your team is so adamant about getting the defuse down, you can really start to play something around that. I just got the feeling that Dunlimited, they didn't really have the health to be starting, messing around with something like that. Nobody was on the roof. A very clear intention of if a team's going to get a plant down on top floor cafe is somebody on the roof? Because if someone's on the roof or someone's looking to get there, they're probably going to get the plant down and hold it from above. But there was just no intention of doing that. Dunlimited could have backed up a little bit, given themselves that space, covered a plant going down, and then looked to hold it in a post. But again, just getting a little bit too wrapped up in the moment. Now it leaves G2 only 2 rounds away here from advancing through our last chance qualifiers.
Reading hold. Upstairs pressure from G2 again. Azami Azami can hold down Piano just by herself. Very, very strong. Whenever you have someone like Benji, who we know has the gun skill to back it up. A bad idea. Doki picks off an air jab there. Could look for a run out perhaps. Out the garage and on to players who could be playing in towards Cocktail. Alamo, a C4 ripped, maybe looking to hit towards that flanks window. Right now for Dunlimited, it's just about information gathering, and that's not a good start. The C4 connects on the skipper. He goes down. Benji, you are playing a dangerous game and will be punished, and Roar's just going to swing straight in. It's all that's left for Dunlimited. Everyone else is gone. Rorik, he's been the standout player in this game. He has 3 more players that he needs to kill to keep his team alive. 6-2 is looming over us. Rorik, minute 15 only. I really don't know what he's thinking and what he can do. I said about information, it didn't look as if there was really any of that from Dunlimited. You can see just based on G2 sitting in these comfortable positions, Rorik has no idea that Virtue's upstairs with him. He does know now as he takes a shot through the chest, and Virtue can honestly simply just rotate downstairs if he needs to.
It's really in G2's court, this one. Virtue can choose to play this however he wishes, but Rorik's going to give himself up to Doki there, jumping over the top of White Stairs. It's going to be map and series point here on the line now for G2. Dunlimited falling pretty short there, particularly in that last round. You looked at how many drones they had available. They only had 2 or 3 drones left available, as Rorik was the last player alive, and that didn't happen at a particularly late point into the round. You really do have to question that information gathering, as you were commenting on their demo. It's just not something that they seem to have taken too seriously here today. And they've certainly paid a price for it. Going to go downstairs to kitchen for what could be the final round of the day here.
Defenders, protect your bombs.
Deep breath for Dunlimited. They need to go for a big old sweep against G2. But we know that's not going to be easy. G2 have looked very strong today, especially in the kill department. Everyone has had a good game from G2 today. There's not a weak link in the chain, which sometimes you could always pin it down to G2. Oh, this player didn't play well today, and that's why they lost. I think that's kind of been the running trend for G2 over the past few months, but not today. Whenever this team are playing in this, in this capabilities where everyone is doing their job well, we understand why they want to hammer. We get it, but they haven't been able to consistently do that since winning said hammer.
Yeah, that's the big difference maker, isn't it? They've not been able to do it against other tier 1 teams. They're going up against Unlimited here. A great team, but not a tier 1 team. And we've seen that demonstrated in various different ways over the course of the day. Very much can be said for Eminem as well. Eminem, haven't had the greatest of times. We know them to be a good team, a very capable team, but haven't really been performing of late. They come up against a tier 2 team and look what happens. So we're expecting G2 to do well today, just the same that we're expecting M&M to do well. I think some of the convincing things that we've seen from G2 today is that willingness to commit, that adaptation, the information gathering, and more than anything else is the teamwork, as you say. All of that has been absolutely stellar. Things just get a little bit trickier the deeper we get into these last chance qualifiers, because we can only send one team.
Communication looks to be on point for G2, just even the way they've set up. One guy inside of VIP, Alamo playing aggressive, Benja behind him holding the window. It just allows each other that all they have to do is hold one angle. There's never a point where someone has to hold 2 angles at the same time. Everyone's got an angle covered. And oh dear, that was a bit of a misstep there from Alamo, but there's the trade-off, and that's what I mean. Playing together, it allows you to do things like that.
Benja looking to spend his C4. He is on a very small amount of health, so wants to get the most out of that utility before he departs to the cameras.
No nades left.
Pressure is starting to build now, and he'll do just exactly that. IWI gonna fall.
Benja!
The triple, look at him go! Oh no! Unfortunate for Benja. He looked like he was about to go on a tear, but G2 are going to take the win regardless. Doki picking up the final couple there. Through the breach, through the bottom of white. 7-2 here on Cafe. 7-3 earlier on Bank. G2 could not have asked for a better start in this last chance qualifier weekend.
Oh, what can you say about G2 in that final round? That shows the team play, how strong they can be. Everyone getting above 5 kills. That is strong for them. Dunlimited go out. It didn't look as if they were ever really in the series to start with, Ollie. They fell behind, on both maps, 3-0s, and G2, if you give them that lead, Ollie, you don't see them losing it.
G2 have played fantastically today. I think hats off to M&M as well. They put in a fantastic performance. If you had any plans for this weekend, you better clear them, because